welcome back. I know I keep saying this, but I really like this game. It's like, I don't know. I like the Zelda games too. It's hard to find a game where you can just play and talk at the same time. But Ocarina of Time, I remember I did a good job with that. I mean, I liked playing it, and I just knew it really well, so I knew where to go and everything. But this game's good. I really like it. Oh, I wish I could play this game forever. Is it okay if I skip those cutscenes? Too late. Gotta keep saving. I don't want to forget. I was gonna talk about, Vault had a nice comment recently where he said, I guess in the video I asked, like, oh, do these videos even have value anymore? I was being, like, weird. Vault was nice about it. He was like, yes, I still like the videos. Oops. And they're relatable, and to see you talk through problems and stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's good. That's what I should be talking about, is like relatable stuff, anxiety stuff, and I guess I do try to talk about that. I guess I should always kind of relate, like when I'm going to a new job, talk about why am I anxious about it, like what am I feeling. That's probably the most interesting stuff, not my political hot takes or whatever. So, I don't know, this didn't happen recently, but I was thinking about, well, for the past couple weeks, it seems like every one day a week, I'll bring up a memory of when I was really anxious when I was younger, because I have a lot of them. Which one did I do last week? I don't remember. The one that Vault commented on. I don't remember. But today I'm going to talk about one time. Oh, it was a college thing. What was it? I was in college. No, it was when I was in high school, and the teacher was mad at me in calculus because I didn't do my homework. I have another school thing. This is when I was in college at Rutgers. I remember I was a senior, so I was like 22 years old. I was a full adult, and I was panicking because I had to see the guidance counselor, because this is embarrassing. I didn't realize, because I never talked to anybody at school, how many credits you actually needed to graduate. I didn't even really know that was a thing. I just thought, like, oh, you take all the classes you have to take, and then you can graduate after 4 years. But no, that's not really how it works. You need, for, I don't know, I guess this is for everybody, but definitely at Rutgers you needed 120 credits. And I only had like 115 or something after 4 years. I don't know how I found out about that. Maybe I Googled it because I was worried about something. I was like, oh, this is bad. So then I was like, okay, I have to go to the guidance counselor to figure out what to do. Like, do I take another year? How does this work? I had no idea. My parents were like, okay, see the guidance counselor. So I did that. I remember going to see the guidance counselor. I was just panicking. Like, I don't know what to say. This is going to be really embarrassing. I don't want to do this. I'm so nervous. The major problem with social anxiety is that a lot of people don't know how to deal with what's happening to you when they're interacting with you. They take it kind of like you're stupid, or you don't know what you're talking about, like, I remember seeing this guidance counselor, and if I was totally normal and could just explain what was happening, she'd be like, oh, okay, just do this and this and you're fine. But I was like mumbling, and she didn't understand what I was saying. I was like, I don't know, like my credits or something, and like, can you help me? She's like, okay, what do you need? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so then she kind of gets a bit like kind of an attitude, because she's like frustrated with you, like, just tell me what you're talking about. And then that makes you even feel even more nervous, because you're like, oh, they're mad at me, oh, I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm doing. So that's a lot of like this self-fulfilling, or just like this positive feedback loop of anxiety. Just like, you get anxious, and then people act weird around you, so then you get more anxious because they're weird, and like, oh, I'm weird, so I'm more anxious. It just kind of keeps feeding into itself. But like, if you just go into the situation like a normal person, then it's fine. But you can't do that, because you're nervous that you're going to be weird, because you're like, I'm always weird. And then, of course, if you're nervous about being weird, then being nervous is the same thing as being weird. So then you're nervous and you're weird, and then they're like, stop being weird, and I can't, I don't know what I'm doing. So, I remember that experience being really bad. So I was nervous about talking to this person, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be weird, and I'm nervous. So I remember I used to do this a lot, where I would just put off doing the thing. Like, I got to school, and I was going to go, I knew where the guidance counselor was, but I'm like, okay, I'm just going to walk around. I'm going to walk past the guidance counselor room, and I'm going to kind of like try to look in the room and maybe get a little like lay of the land and be like, okay, there's like a couch there, and there's like, okay, that's where the desk is, so that's where I go to talk, but I'm not ready yet, so I'm just going to walk around again. I remember the building that had the guidance counselor was like this 5-story tall building. So what I did is I just walked up the 5 flight of stairs, and then I walked back down. And I'm like, okay, am I ready? No, I'm not. I think I did that 2 or 3 times before I actually went in. And then I went in. I remember I didn't know, I had to go to the guidance counselor twice. And the first time was when I went to like the career fair thing. That was the worst time, because I didn't know what to say. Basically, I wanted to ask the guidance counselor, like, how do I get an internship? What do I do? I've gone to these career fairs, and like, nobody's calling me, and I haven't gotten a thing. So I'm like, okay, maybe if I go to the guidance counselor, they'll help me. I went to the guidance counselor, and I told her all that stuff. And I was like nervous, so she didn't understand what I was saying. And she was like, and then she gave me a pamphlet for the career fair. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going there, but I'm not getting anything. Like, is that the only way to get an internship? Is there anything else I could do? I didn't say that. I was just like, oh, thanks, I'll go to the career fair. And then I left being like, oh, I hate myself, because I couldn't tell her what I needed. She didn't understand me. But yeah, I have a lot of... I used to do that a lot in school, whenever there was free time. Like after school, when I was waiting for my mom to pick me up or whatever. I wouldn't stand. I would just walk, because like... It's less embarrassing to walk by yourself, but like if you're just standing by yourself, I just felt embarrassed. I'm by myself, and it's weird, and everybody knows I don't have any friends. Nobody cares. I know that, but... I was a lot more embarrassed back then about not having friends. Now I'm like, have friends? Like, do 28-year-old people even have friends? Not really. They have families. Gosh. Am I ever gonna have a family? Is that gonna happen? There's these people at church. I don't know. Religious people get married younger for some reason. I don't know. I guess because in the Bible it's like an important thing to have kids. So like everybody, like, oh, when you're at church, oh, you're married, you gotta have kids. I don't know. But I still have like a kind of a young looking face, so people don't really bother me about it. They're not like, oh, why aren't you married yet? Because they think I'm like 23 or something. Sometimes people still think I'm in college. Maybe that's because I never did any drugs. So I don't know. The only thing old about me is the eye bags. The eye bags make me look older, I think. I was doing this video doctor appointment today, and I was at the front-facing camera, and like my eyes, oh, look at your eyes. Look at those bags. You look like you're 100 years old. Was that it for today? I don't know. I don't really have too much to say about the new job. Just like, I'm nervous about a new job. It feels like the first day of school, and I never liked the first day of school. You know, I guess some people, when they had the first day of school, they used to be kind of excited. Like, oh, I'm kind of nervous. It's the first day of school, but I'm kind of excited because I want to see my friends. And I was always just nervous. I remember having the thought, this is kind of weird. This tells you how much I used to think about, like, I was really self-conscious about my eyes getting red and crying. I remember thinking, like, I hope I don't cry this year. Like, if I can get through this year without my eyes watering in class, like if a teacher calls on me and getting really embarrassed, that's something that I would think about on the first day of school. Like, it's going to happen at least once this year where a teacher's going to call on me. I'm not going to know the answer. I'm going to get really embarrassed, and they're going to make me feel bad about it, and my eyes are going to be watering, and they're going to be like, Anthony, you didn't do the homework. Don't you know the answer? I'm going to be like, I don't know. I'm always fixated on the bad things. Is that true? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like everybody is kind of that way, though. Because you just want to avoid the bad things, and I don't know. I was never like, oh, I'm so excited to see my friends. I guess I've always been kind of an antisocial person. Well, that's it for today. So was that a good relatable thing to talk about? Should I try to keep thinking of those kinds of things? I never talked about that, I don't think. I'm sure I've got a million more. I just thought about one more. I could think of them all day, probably. Or just things at school or at church. Oh, I just thought of another one. Or, yeah. Where I was just anxious and it was not fun. I don't know, maybe everybody has those moments. But I felt like I had them every day. Especially when I got older. High school and college was the worst. Elementary school, I wasn't really too self-conscious. about it, and nobody really made me feel. It's like you're a kid. You're supposed to be quiet. But then I got older and like, oh, why aren't you talking? And then I tried to talk, and it was weird. And I guess I'll wait 40 seconds. Katamari damasi. Boop, 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 boop. This game is so good. I just like rolling up to people. It's my favorite thing. Look at this guy. I'm gonna roll him up. Oh, get him. Alright. See you tomorrow. Thanks.